Hey guys, welcome back to Tianshi Recap. I'm your host Tianshi. Today we're diving into the chilling world of supernatural horror with a brand new 2025 release, Home Sweet Home: Rebirth. Prepare yourself for a journey into the unknown. Let's dive right in. The movie opens with chaos in the streets. The entire Bangkok police force is chasing down a dangerous criminal named Mek. With no way out, Mek hides near a shop wounded and certain he's about to die. But instead of fear, he starts laughing. As his blood splashes into the air, a mysterious man appears out of nowhere and makes him an offer. If Mek agrees to follow him, he'll save his life. Mek, desperate to stay alive, accepts the deal. In that moment, a strange and powerful force enters his body. He screams in pain. The police arrive seconds later, but Mek has vanished. All they find is a melting gate, sizzling with his blood. Meanwhile, far away in a peaceful temple on a Chinese mountain, a saint named Chan is struck by a dark vision. A great disaster is coming. Many lives will be lost. Chan senses the world is on the brink of disaster. Earth and hell are about to collide, so he sets out to stop it. Meanwhile, in Bangkok, police officer Jake is on vacation with his family. He's glued to his phone, even during their trip. His wife Prang gets upset, and during their argument, they realize their daughter is missing. They find her nearby, calmly watching a butterfly resting on Chan's hand. Jake thanks him, but Chan surprises him by saying his name. He tells Jake he is the gatekeeper born on the blood moon. Jake thinks he's mistaken, but Chan warns him he will soon lose his family. Jake walks away confused. The butterfly lands on Chan's shoulder, hinting that this is only the beginning. Jake takes his family to a mall hoping for some normalcy, but chaos strikes again. Mek is there, alive and armed. Without warning, he starts shooting everyone around him. Jake tells his wife to hide in the bathroom with their daughter, then rushes down to stop Mek. But Mek isn't focused on Jake. He's talking to a doll, ignoring everything Jake says. Suddenly, he opens fire again. Jake shoots him, but instead of fighting back, Mek laughs. He thanks Jake, saying his death completes the ritual, and now his master will arrive. Moments later, Mek explodes, killing more people. After the blast, Jake's wife, Prang, steps out only to find people turning violent and attacking each other. Panicked, she grabs her daughter and runs back into the mall. But the madness spreads there too. She fights her way through the chaos and escapes. Meanwhile, Jake wakes up inside the ruined mall. He and another officer are somehow still alive. But there are no bodies, no signs of the blast's victims. Confused and shaken, they try to make sense of what just happened. Outside, the world is spiraling. Prang is fleeing while crowds tear each other apart and find shelter near a supermarket. Inside the ruined mall, Jake is still disoriented. He starts to notice something strange. The mall looks old and abandoned, covered in dust and decay. As he explores, he finds a girl who seems to be alive. But when she turns, her face is no longer human. She suddenly attacks and kills the other officer. Jake fires at her, but the bullets do nothing. He tries to run, but she climbs the walls like a spider, stalking him from above. She finds him and strikes again, but Jake narrowly escapes and rushes to the bathroom to find his wife and daughter, but they're already gone. The girl attacks once more. Realizing he can't kill her, Jake tricks her and ties her against a wall. Then he starts searching the entire mall to find his family. That's when he sees the girl is opening a strange portal. It's the same portal Mek vanished into at the beginning. Outside, Prang tries to call her mother, desperate to warn her about what's happening. Suddenly, an aggressive man attacks and tries to kill her daughter. Prang fights back and escapes. She finds a nearby bus and jumps inside, telling the driver to start it. But the key is missing. Inside the bus, some passengers are hiding, too afraid to move. Prang decides to go out herself to find the key. Prang finally finds the bus key and rushes back. But just as she's about to enter, an aggressive man grabs her and tries to kill her. In a desperate struggle, one of the passengers inside the bus jumps out and helps her fight him off. Prang survives, but the man who helped her is killed. With no time to grieve, Prang clutches her daughter and gets back on the bus, but the road is completely jammed with abandoned vehicles. With no way to drive through, she decides to continue on foot, holding her daughter tightly as they move through the chaos. Meanwhile, Jake finally makes it out of the ruined mall. But his relief doesn't last. The ground starts to shake beneath him. From the shattered remains of the mall, a massive creature emerges. A horrifying monster unlike anything Jake has ever seen begins chasing him through the streets. Jake runs for his life and hides, but the monster, unable to find him, turns its rage on the innocent people nearby. Again, Jake, being hunted, ends up cornered in a narrow street. Just as the monster closes in, Chan appears out of nowhere and rescues him. He pulls Jake to safety and tells him if he wants to find his family, he needs to come with him. Jake agrees, and they move quickly. Along the way, Chan says he can help, but first Jake must tell him exactly what Mek said before dying. Jake recalls Mek's final words, gatekeeper. Hearing this, Chan looks serious and explains that Jake is not just any gatekeeper. He is the Hell's gatekeeper. Chan reveals the horrifying truth. Mek's attack in the mall and Jake being the one to shoot him was not a coincidence. It was all part of a dark plan. Chan explains the terrifying truth to Jake. If the gatekeeper, who is Jake, kills Mek, the ritual will be complete. Mek's soul will be sacrificed to Chan's father. That act will open the gate of hell. Once the gate is open, creatures from the underworld will enter the human world and begin feeding on the souls of the weak. With every soul consumed, Chan's father becomes stronger. If not stopped, he will rise and claim the world as its ruler. The only way to prevent this is by closing the gate before the power transfer is complete. If the gate remains open, the chaos and death will never stop. People will continue to turn violent, and the world will collapse. Jake, born on the night of a rare blood-red moon, was destined to be the Hell's gatekeeper. This is why Mek found him. Everything that happened was part of a plan to use Jake in the ritual. But Jake is focused only on one thing: finding and protecting his family. Chan warns that the destruction will only end if the gate is sealed. He offers Jake a deal. If Jake helps him close the gate, Chan will make sure his wife and daughter are returned safely. With no other choice, Jake agrees. Meanwhile, Prang and her daughter reach their hotel. As they head to their room, they witness a terrifying scene. A man is attacking a woman in the hallway. As Prang tries to help, the man suddenly lunges at her. She fights back and kills him in self-defense. Rattled but determined, she rushes into the room. She tries to call for help, but the phone line is dead. She walks to the window and pulls the curtain aside and watches in horror as Bangkok is swallowed by chaos. Elsewhere, Jake and Chan are making their way through the ruined city. Their goal is to find Mek, because wherever Mek is, the gate will not be far. As they move, Jake finally asks the question that's been bothering him. Why does Chan's father need Mek? Chan begins to explain. His father, once a respected monk, was consumed by a hunger for more power. In his greed, he betrayed his master and stole 2 forbidden scriptures. One scripture granted immense supernatural abilities. The other revealed how to extract and consume human souls. At first, the power seemed limitless. But as his father read deeper into the scriptures, something terrible began to happen. The knowledge devoured him from the inside. The more he learned, the more his physical body decayed. Eventually, he realized his body would not last much longer. In desperation, he decided to transfer his soul into another body, and the one he chose was his own young son, Chan. But during the ritual, Chan's mother intervened. She struck him and interrupted the process. The ritual remained incomplete. As a result, his father's body disintegrated and vanished into thin air. However, because the ritual was only partially performed, some of the scripture's power remained inside Chan. Over the years, he grew up with traces of that power still within him. Years later, from within the depths of hell, Chan's father managed to return. But weakened, he needed a helper in the human world. That's when he found Mek. Mek became his chosen mediator, the one who could prepare the world for his return. This is exactly what we witnessed in the opening scene. As they move deeper through the streets, a sudden scream pierces the air. Without hesitation, Jake rushes toward the sound. A young girl is being attacked by several monstrous creatures. Jake jumps into action, fighting off the attackers with everything he has. After a brutal fight, he defeats them all and runs to help the girl. But what he sees shocks him. He recognizes her. She's the same girl he saw earlier in the mall, the one who had been shot and killed. Yet here she is, alive and terrified. Even the girl is confused. She has no memory of how she survived or why she's still here. Before they can figure anything out, the ground trembles. The massive monster from before appears again. Both Jake and the girl try to run, but the monster catches her. In a horrifying moment, it devours her completely. Jake has no choice but to run for his life. Once safe, Jake turns to Chan and demands answers. He asks how that girl who clearly died in the mall was still alive. And now comes a huge twist. Chan tells Jake the truth. That girl was never alive. What Jake saw was her soul. Jake is stunned. Chan explains that everyone who died in the mall explosion, including Jake, is no longer living in the physical world. They are all souls now. Jake is no longer human. What Chan has been speaking to is Jake's spirit. Mech, however, is not in this reality. He is in another plane of existence. To reach him, they need to find a portal that connects these two realms. Chan knows where it is, and they begin the journey. As they travel, more flying creatures from hell swarm toward them. The air is filled with howls and screeches. They attack from every direction. Chan fights them off, protecting Jake as they push forward. Eventually, they reach a theater. Inside, they find the portal. As they run toward it, the demons close in. They try to devour Jake's soul, swiping and biting, desperate to drag him into nothingness. But Jake fights back and narrowly escapes. With a final leap, both he and Chan enter the portal. Suddenly, everything goes silent. They have crossed over now. Both Jake and Chan have entered the other reality. As Jake and Chan walk through the new reality, Jake notices something unsettling. In a mirror, he sees not his own face, but someone else's. Chan explains that since Jake died in the mall explosion, his soul had to take over a body in this reality to exist. The man in the mirror is that body, someone who had been shot in the chest. That's why Jake now feels pain in the same spot. Meanwhile, back at the hotel, Mech appears at Prang's door, exactly like Jake, wounded and weak. Prang, not knowing the truth, lets him in and begins to treat his injury. But when she glances at the mirror, she's horrified to see Mech's face. At the same time, the real Jake reaches the hotel. He finds the room empty, but hears his daughter's voice calling from downstairs and rushes to help. Jake finally reaches his family, but there's a problem. Since he's now in a different body, Prang and his daughter don't recognize him. Confused and panicked, they back away. At the same time, Mech, still in Jake's form, appears and starts attacking the real Jake. As the fight breaks out, the gun slips and ends up in Prang's hands. She points it at the unknown man in front of her, still not believing it's Jake. Jake desperately tries to convince her, but she can't trust what she sees. Only his daughter senses the truth and hesitates. Mech quickly manipulates Prang's mind. In her confusion, she pulls the trigger. Jake is shot again. As Jake's soul leaves the body, a demon senses it and tries to devour him. But just in time, Chan appears and drives the demon away, saving Jake's soul once more. Meanwhile, Mech, still wearing Jake's face, calmly tells Prang and her daughter to follow him to a safe place. But the daughter refuses. She says with certainty, "You're not my father." At that moment, Mech drops the disguise, revealing his real face. Then he opens a blood-red portal on the wall and demands they enter it. Chan warns Jake that Mech is taking them straight to the Hell Gate. To stop it, Jake must go after them and seal the portal. Chan hands him a sacred knife, the only weapon powerful enough to kill Mech. As Jake and Chan head toward the gate, Chan warns that Jake will need a stronger body to face Mech and survive the final battle. Meanwhile, Mech brings Prang and their daughter before Chan's father. The old demon monk says the two of them are more than enough to complete the ritual. He begins the dark ceremony, preparing to sacrifice Jake's daughter. But before he can strike, Jake arrives in a stronger body, ready for battle. He leaps into action, fighting off Chan's father's followers. A brutal fight breaks out. The dark monks surround him, attacking from all sides. In the chaos, Prang grabs a sacred gun and fires it at Chan's father. The shot lands, wounding him badly. She then tosses the gun to Jake. Jake catches it and aims at Mech. With one shot, he finally kills him. Mech's soul is thrown into the twisted reality where hellish monsters devour wandering souls. Now defenseless, Mech becomes their next victim. His end is violent and final. Back at the ritual site, Chan's father, gravely wounded by the sacred weapon, begins to fade. With his last breath, he tells Jake the only way to close the Hell Gate is to enter hell itself. Then he dies. Only now does Chan reveal the full truth. There's no shortcut. If Jake wants to save his family and the world, he must step into hell and seal the gate from within. With no other choice, Jake turns to his family one last time, preparing for what comes next. With a heavy heart, Jake shares a final moment with his family. He turns to Chan and says, "Take care of them. I'll try to find another way out of hell." Without waiting for a reply, he steps into the glowing portal. On the other side, Jake finds himself deep in hell. Fire and shadows swirl around him. The intense heat tears through him, burning away his body. At that exact moment, the gate on Earth begins to close. As Jake dies, within the flames, the portal seals shut completely. His sacrifice saves the world. Prang and her daughter return to her mother's house, trying to heal from the nightmare. Life slowly starts to settle again, but peace does not last long. In the final scene, a mysterious young girl opens the Hell Gate once more, and the screen cuts to black. So it looks like there might be a part 2 to this movie. We'll just have to wait and see when it drops. Hope you guys enjoyed the movie. Don't forget to hit that subscribe button and turn on all notifications so you don't miss the next one. Catch you in the next video.
Bye.